We are live. Here we are, guys.
Awesome. Excited to kick this off. Whew, thank you guys for joining in. Seems like we got a lot of folks coming through. Yeah, excited to kick this thing off. Heather, great to have you. Ron, great to have you. Sandra, great to have you. Yeah, exciting times. We've got a ton of stuff that I'm hyped for us to dive into today. Just a lot of stuff that happened over the last month, stuff that we've got coming out over the next month, next couple months. So quite a bit of things to dive into. As we kick off, the very first thing that I want to do is thank everyone for joining and showing up live. You have already done the most difficult part, so absolutely appreciate you. What we are doing today is we are running Heartbeats Town Hall. We do this every month, and this is probably one of the most effective ways that we can just communicate directly with you guys as customers to talk about what we're building, what we're focusing on, and really open the floor for requests and give you guys a chance to help us make sure that we're keeping our eye on the right kind of things. And so the way that this is going to work is we're going to break this call up into three real pieces. First, like 15, 20 minutes, we'll talk about what we got done over the last month. Next 15, 20, we'll talk about what we've got coming out over the next couple months. And then we leave that last 15-minute block open just to answer any questions that you guys have, respond to any feedback that you guys have. If there's things that we're not focusing on that we should be, we want to leave some room over there, keep it open so that you're able to, help us move in the right direction. And what I will say, before we even dive in here, is we have diverted our entire product roadmap for 3, 4, 5 months at a time because of feedback that has come up during these calls. When we say we listen, we really, really do listen. And this is, like I said, one of the best ways for us as builders to make sure that we are building Heartbeat in the right direction to satisfy all of the different needs that your business has, that your community has, as you're getting started or as you're growing and scaling through Heartbeat. So chat is going to be super active. We've got some amazing folks in here. Nicole's coming in from San Diego, Patrick coming in from London, Sandra coming in from New Zealand. Any questions that you have, feel free to keep dropping into that chat. We've got multiple members in the team that are going to make sure that we're monitoring that and responding to stuff. We'll try to respond to stuff in line. Mike's going to pull up some of these and have them nicely display on the screen. But some of them we might just leave a little bit more towards the end if it's not specific to what we're presenting. So we'll play around with it, but we're going to make sure that as much as possible, everything that gets dropped into that chat today, we are going to do our best to just directly address and answer. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into what we did over the last month, and we're going to kick that off with product. I'm going to hand it off to Nick. Nick, do you mind just diving into all of the cool things that Heartbeat launched over the last month from a product perspective?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I'll first start by sharing my screen. So there we are. So over the last month, we did a ton of work on the product side. A few of them are front-facing that y'all have seen already. Some of them are coming over the next few days. But to start, we made some quality of life fixes to the Payments 2.0 update. As many of you may have seen in the email a couple days ago, we are beginning our full migration to Payments 2.0. So if you go to your settings under your product settings now, if you're on the old Payments suite, you will see a migration button where you will be taken through a self-guided process to migrate. Over 1,000 communities have already done this on Heartbeat, and by April 1st, we'll be automatically migrating any other communities that haven't migrated already. There's a ton of new features for you to check out. We've gone through them in a bunch of town halls in the past, and there's also a really great video that Mortiza put together. It's 15 minutes, but packed with so much good content. And you could always watch it on 1.5 speed.
We're going to figure out how to get that one down to 5 minutes. 15 minutes is a little long. We're going to play around with it.
I watched it on half speed. That's how much I loved it. But yeah, so definitely check out the Help Center to learn more about it. Go ahead and migrate when you can, and just know that your community will be auto-migrated on the 1st of April. So that's our major first update with payments. The second update I have for y'all is a fun one. So many of you have requested that we add an @everyone mention. The reason being, some of you were making posts or comments where you want the entire community to be notified. You want them to receive a notification, whether it be on desktop or a push notification. And in the past, you might have been using groups to do this, where you mention an entire group. But now with the @everyone mention, you can mention your entire community regardless of the group that they're in. So it works really straightforward. So let's say I am making a post here and I want to mention everybody in my community. I type @ everyone. And now when I make this post, it's going to notify 45 of my members. We put this up here just in case you don't understand the true power of this feature. We recommend that you don't use this lightly. This is something that, if used too often for things that don't necessarily provide like a ton of value to your members, they will be like more frustrated about the amount of pings that they're getting. So use it wisely and use it to your advantage as you're continuing to grow your engagement in your community.
Nick, a really great comment came in from Nicole was about disabling the everyone feature, which I think kind of leads into just like making sure this doesn't get overused. Do you mind sharing a little bit about like who has access to actually use the @everyone?
Yes, great question. So your members do not have access to the @everyone trigger. We we made sure of that so that it doesn't become abused. Only your admins and moderators will be able to use the @everyone mention for now. One day down the road, maybe we add it as a role permission so that you can control even more who's able to use it. But right now, it's just admins and moderators that are able to mention everybody. Cool. Any other questions there?
No, I think we got everything, but just so everyone knows, like in Riverside, I know it's a little different than Zoom. The little chat button is going to be in the bottom right corner of the like actual interface. You can just click that; it'll open up the chat. Drop any questions there. If you're joining us from like YouTube, LinkedIn, there's obviously other places, and you know where the comments go. But just making sure everyone knows it's the little button in the bottom right. Keep going, Nick.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. I actually do see a question in the chat about Payments 2.0. Really quickly, I wanted to address. One of the changes with Payments 2.0 is how we handle some subgroups. We've kind of made some new rules around whether you can use a subgroup or not. And when you're doing the migration, we'll guide you through what's going to change if you have some subgroups that break our new rules. One of the major uses of subgroups in Payments 1.0 was just for organization purposes. So we've made sure that in Payments 2.0, we do the organization for you. So if I go to my access groups for my test community, which is there's a lot of groups in this community, we broken the access groups tables by tabs. So now I have all of my course groups organized under one roof, same with my paid groups, automated groups, badges, and hidden ones. So we are organizing them a ton better. And for any changes that we have to make when you're going through the migration process, Heartbeat will handle it, and no access will be manipulated for your members when we're doing the migration. So they will never notice a difference, and they'll continue accessing what they had access to before.
Nice little feature too to call out is that little search in the top right corner that searches directly through groups. We started adding this a lot more in like Payments 2.0, where especially like we're seeing just like more offers, like more groups, like more sign up pages than we expected being created. And so just making sure you have some sort of like easy ways to just sub filter, search through all of the stuff that you're creating, and be able to like effectively like build and run your community with all the tools that are here.
Yep, cool. Thanks for the question, y'all. All right, so moving on to the next thing that we worked on last month, wait lists. So this is a huge one, y'all. I'm just like super excited about this. So as we've noticed through just like working with tons and tons of communities on Heartbeat, sometimes you're just not ready to launch, or you are gearing up for the release of a new piece of content, whether it be a course or a new discussion space in your community, and you want to start building buzz around it. You want to build some hype. And we realize that offers may not be the best position for that if you're not so sure you're ready to launch just yet. So with waitlists, which is coming out in just a few days, ideally next week at some point, you can now build buzz and collect payments and grow your audience before even having to launch. So what does that actually mean? You can now start building out a list of members or those that are not members of your community yet that will basically be notified and added to an offer once you decide to launch. You can choose to charge these members up front when they join the waitlist, or you can defer their payment up until the launch day. You can have some combination of the two where you're charging partially up front and then partially on launch day. It incorporates all of the features of Payments 2.0, so you have your full service checkout, you have your new customizable and pretty landing pages, and you have the mobile checkout, which is completely revamped as well. What's also nice is the flywheel effect of the built-in referral program that we add to the waitlists. So with waitlists, A big thing about it is virality. That's typically what you're really focusing on when you're trying to build a big list of people that are just getting hyped around your offer. And a big piece of virality is allowing people to share the word and incentivizing them to do so. So we've built in a referral program using Heartbeat's referral features so that your members will automatically receive affiliate links when they join your waitlist, and they'll be able to share it for an incentive that you determine the monetary value of. Any initial thoughts here before I start jumping into what this actually looks like?
Looks like we are getting a lot of love in the Zoom chat. Big, amazing, in all caps from Nicole. I 100% agree. Honestly, like the big thing that we're really, really excited about with Waitlist is just the fact that we can allow you to like test out willingness to pay of customers. We can allow you to experiment with new product offerings and just like build a little bit of buzz, make sure that when you launch, you actually have the revenue for it, right? And because we're capturing that payment for like, first month's rent in air quotes on the waitlist page, it allows you to just de-risk so much around new product launches and ensure that you are building a business that is not just expanding, but expanding with sustainable, good revenue foundations. And so that's probably the thing that I'm the most excited about is even like when we launched Heartbeat, this is kind of similar to how we launched Heartbeat. Our very first customer, like we did like a quick demo with them and, they were like, yeah, we want to use this. And we weren't actually ready on the back end to hand it off to them. And so we took the first month's rent and then, we built it out and we launched it with them. And I think this is how best in class businesses are made. So we're really, really, really excited to start bringing this functionality natively into Heartbeat so that every community can start with these really great foundations.
Yeah. Thanks, Mortaza. And I just want to emphasize that this isn't just for new communities. Like this is great for new communities because, if you're starting from scratch and you want to validate your idea, that what better way to do that than a waitlist? But this is also great for people that are launching new courses and want to build hype around a cohort and set a launch date for that cohort to start. I see a ton of that on other websites that host online courses, and we wanted to bring that here to you as well. All right, y'all. I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes here before we move on to the next thing, because I just want to give you a little bit more of a taste of what's behind here. So I have a waitlist set up, and I've designed my custom landing page. This may look familiar to y'all that have moved to Payments 2.0. If you're looking at this and like, whoa, I want this landing page, migrate to Payments 2.0. You'll get it immediately. And what we're looking at here is my hype page for my waitlist. So I have my countdown, counting down to my set launch date, and I have all my marketing copy with my video. I have my description with my social proofing. I've seen a lot of fun use cases of how people are using these. Somebody recently had a bunch of cute puppies in each one of these, and I thought it was the most adorable thing in the world. So please keep getting creative with this and sharing in the hearth. I'd love to see what else y'all have. Let's say now I want to join in on this waitlist. So I'm going to enter my email and click join the waitlist. And then I'm going to be asked to pay partially upfront. So this waitlist is structured as a $5 upfront, $20 on launch day, and then it will start your regular subscription from there. So on the right-hand side, I'm seeing my order summary with a clear indication of like what's happening today, what's happening on launch day, and then what's happening after that. We know that's like really important, especially when you're doing like an uncertain event like a waitlist launch. And then I would enter my payment information here, click purchase, and I will be added to the waitlist. Once I'm added, I will see something to the effect of this right here, where I'll receive my custom affiliate link. I'll be able to copy it. I'll also receive it in my email, and my incentive will be communicated to me. In this case, I'm rewarding people with $5 in credit for each referral that they make for the waitlist. So we handle all that heavy lifting for you, and then you can monitor it on the back end. So if you go to your offers page and your waitlists, this is that very same waitlist that I was showing you on the front side, and you're able to see how many signups you have, how many of those are referrals, your total revenue, and we also try to nudge you a little bit because it is scary to launch. That is just, it's scary to launch this as a person on the product team, right? So we wanted to communicate to you what we've seen on the back end, like best practice when people are ready to launch. And the truth is, like 5 members is really all you need, especially with like the average pricing that we see in communities like this. 5 members, 25 a month. You're already making 125 bucks in monthly revenue. I did the math right, yeah. Okay, yeah, I did. And and yeah, from there you could only grow, and you have like that little piece validated. With 5 members as well, you have a nice beta cohort where it's just enough people like sitting at a dining room table, for example, where they could have a conversation in a group without it feeling dead.
And what I'll also call out is like we've seen so many communities that have like crossed the like 6 figures in annual revenue mark that started exactly like this. It was like 5 people, maybe 10 people that they got started with and kicked off with. And so a lot of this is how we're thinking of how do we make this, especially for new communities, as approachable as possible, but especially for like the experienced communities too, right? Like you can be running a pretty nicely built out business and still not have perfect clarity around what does the indicators for launch look like. And so we want to make sure to continually bring those best practices and display it to you in product so that you understand when you are moving in the right direction.
Exactly. And then the last thing I'll show y'all is the launch flow. So when you're ready to launch, we won't launch automatically. So when these 14 days count down, if you're not ready, it's all right. You could always move your launch day or just decide you're not quite ready yet. But let's say you are, you go ahead and click launch. We'll walk you through a quick process of like how do you want to communicate the launch in an email? Where do you want your members to land once they enter your community? And then once you click launch here, we'll send out the emails and we'll convert your waitlist into an offer. And when that's done, we're going to ask you some important questions now that you have launched a real offer for your business, such as, do you want to update your pricing now? Do you want to add any sort of limits to your offer that you now have? Do you want to change the sign up page copy? Because I'm sure before it was tailored toward your waitlist people. So that's all possible here. We're trying to think of these things ahead for you because there's just so much that's happening on launch day that we want to make sure at least the machine will keep running the way you want it to. All right, y'all. Any questions on that before I move to our next and last feature that we pushed last month?
We do have one, Nick, from Chuck in the chat. I'll put that up on the screen here. Hopefully it's not too long. No, it's good right there. So in that example, is the remaining balance charged with the same payment method used for the deposit?
Yep, great question, Chuck. Yes, so that's why even if you're not collecting payment up front, we're collecting their payment information when they sign up so that we're using that card to charge on launch day. And we're able to do that automatically. For any cases where for some reason the payment is blocked, we will notify you in the launch process and you'll know that they were not charged. And if that happens, then when they click to join your community, they will be asked to re-verify their payment information to join. So we'll handle all of that for you, where if we're failing to charge offline, then we'll ask them when they try to log in the first time.
Yeah, I think that's another like huge benefit of the Heartbeat payment system is like all the retries, all the reconciliation work, like all of that stuff is just really, really nicely taken care of for you, so that you know if you build out some of this like the sequences in Heartbeat of hey, you pay and you do this and this and this, like Heartbeat's going to make sure that we're actually collecting the revenue for you. We're a business that is like we use revenue to keep the lights on. We obviously expect the same thing for you guys too. So we want to make sure that best business practices and really best like fintech practices are built really nicely into your community.
And Chuck, last question that I saw there is like the referral credit. We thought about that too. Launch has so much uncertainty, so we didn't want to apply the credit until launch day. So that's what's happening here is if I have a bunch of referral credits that I've tallied up, let's say 50 bucks in referral credits, I was one of your biggest fans, that's going to be applied starting on launch day. So I might get like my first 2 months free in your membership because of the referrals that I made. And that just makes it a little bit more flexible in case you have to delay launch or refund people. You won't have to also refund any referral commissions. All right, y'all, I'm going to jump a little bit more forward here and talk about the very last thing that we did last month, which is private assignment submission approval. Some of y'all might be thinking, wow, I would really like to approve or deny submissions for assignments for my courses. If you're thinking that exact thing right now, I have some great news for you. It's coming. So we heard from lots of y'all running courses that one of the key parts of a course is like ensuring that they're getting the information right, and when somebody's submitting a submission for a private assignment, that you're able to review them, give them feedback, and say, okay, you're good to go, and keep moving forward. So that is in private beta right now, so you won't see it in your community just yet, but we have a select few communities that are testing it privately, and right before a larger launch in the next couple of weeks. But I wanted to give y'all a little taste of what it looks like here. So pretty soon what you'll see when you're editing a private assignment is a require instructor approval option. And if that's toggled on, you're basically saying that in order for somebody to move along in my course, they need an instructor from our side, on the admin side, to approve their submission to this assignment. And once it's approved, they can move on. And this creates a really good opportunity to have a feedback loop with your member or student, where giving them feedback, they resubmit, giving them feedback, they resubmit. For those that take a bit longer, maybe that happens a few times, and then once they've got it right on that final try, you can approve them to continue moving forward in the course. So what does that look like on your end as an approver? Well, when you go to your course, you might see a view submissions notifications bubble here. So I have 8 submissions I need to review. When I click on that, I see a nice modal here with a table of all the submissions of assignments that need approval. Here I could either quickly approve or deny them if I'm just like trying to get through them, or I can click into them to see more details and really review the assignment. If that's the case, I click into it and I'm able to review the assignment on the left side. If I forget the instructions, click them open and review those. And then when I'm ready, I'm sharing my feedback with Fred in this case and telling him whether he could move on or ask him to retry again. Now, what does that look like on the member side? It looks a little like this. So once I submit my assignment, I will see a pending status that says submitted, awaiting approval, and I can't move on. So this mark as complete button is disabled. Once I receive some feedback, let's say it was feedback that I need to retry. Well, Don Cheadle said, this is a good start, but can you please add 2 to 3 bullets on your challenges you experienced during this assessment? Sure, Don Cheadle, happy to do that. So I make those changes, I resubmit the assignment, and it goes back into that pending status. So as a member, I'm able to always review the feedback and also see any past submissions in case maybe my previous submission was better than the last. Now let's say I finally get it right. Don Cheadle's happy with me, and he gives me, I guess, the same feedback. I didn't update the test copy here, but let's just say he said, you did great. And he approves me to keep on going, and I'm able to go to the next lesson. So this is what's coming. This is what's in private beta right now with some of our course community creators. Very excited to get this launched in the next week or two. And if there are any questions before we move on here, I'd love to take them.
Yeah, I might want to surface one. It's tangential, but kind of similar functionality. Nicole was inspired by this to ask, is there a way to get pinged when someone submits an assignment when you've chosen an external link? People keep submitting on Heartbeat when they're used to an external link. Was there any functionality carryover, Nick?
Oh, that's a good question. So like having notifications that we set up for this also have notifications ping you as an admin when somebody submits an assignment, even if it doesn't need to be approved. That's definitely something we could look into since we're building that infrastructure here. We'll just have to look into like the settings side of that and how you can enable or disable it. But yeah, we'll look into that for sure.
I think we're caught up on the questions there. We just got love and so good, and yeah, look at this.
Amazing.
We got people feeling good about all the show and tell.
Well, that's all I have on the product side for what we did last month, y'all. I hope you are excited as I am. But with that, I will pass it on to Mike for some growth stuff. Do you
Awesome.
want to share screen?
You can drive. That's fine.
Cool.
You can drive for now. I did want to show this. I probably could have popped this up at the top, but Nick got first spot on this live stream today. So if ever you guys want, at the end when we do the open Q&A, there is a button if you're on Chrome or Edge browser that you can call in and come on mic at the bottom. of the studio interface. If you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, that's only the link that's available through the Hearth, but I want to show you where it was. This way you guys can actually see it if you hadn't used it before. And of course, the chat on the right. So that's just wanted to do a little PSA 1/3 of the way through. That's totally fine. All right, next. Cool stats from the growth team. Also, guys, I'm sorry if my voice is going to die halfway through this. I have a sick kiddo, and she incubated the best germs for me. So I have that now, so I'm powering through. So, all right, cool stats. Admin revenue. That means money that you guys have made was $780,000 in the last 30 days. We're closing in on like you guys making $1 million a month collectively. This is such a huge milestone. I'm proud of it because a lot of the work I've been doing has been really helpful, focusing on helping people activate throughout their journey on Heartbeat, making sure you're hitting these milestones as you work your way up towards success. This is really one of the things we're just indexing very heavily around is our North Star metric. Also, just want to let you guys know how many of you are new to the Heartbeat world and Heartbeat family. 645 new communities were created in February alone. So again, that's a large number of new communities spun up in a single month. We've been there working with you guys. We can see the stats coming in. In fact, one of the stats that's really cool as far as usage of what you guys are doing, 1,000 courses were created, and we've been averaging 1,000 courses created per month for the last 3 months straight. So just keep on doing that stuff. You want to know, like, why do we make the courses a premium experience? Why do we have these assignment approvals? Why are we doing all of this stuff? You guys are using it. So we're going to make sure we do the things that help you guys use the features and get the most out of it so that 780K can keep on growing. So really excited to share these numbers. As for things that the growth team, our team of one, has been working on in the last month, we're live streaming Hearth events like this. So we've kind of operationalized this process. We have a couple of kinks we're still working out, as with any tech. Sometimes the live streams don't connect perfectly to social platforms, but the link in the Hearth is always working, and that's what this branded studio for Riverside is here. You guys can have a consolidated chat. If you did ever tune in from YouTube or LinkedIn, those comments come through to us just as if they did in here. It tells us where they came in from. So you're always able to chat. But if you want to call in on Upstage, like I said, you can call in and we can get on mic and we can hear what you have to say if you need to add more context. This month, we also launched the Preferred Partner Program. So I'm really excited about this. I've been working on this for a while, longer than I thought I was going to stand it up, but I'm really happy that it stood up now. The goal here is that we have a new partner directory of vendors who support Heartbeat community builders. So let's see, who asked the question? Ron, you asked the question, where can I find an expert on Heartbeat that can get us set up on our community and address technical issues? This is where you do it. This is the directory. So these are partners. We're starting with a pilot cohort. We've got 5 partners on there in a variety of different service areas who are vetted. Basically, we've talked to them all. We've come up with an arrangement with them, and they are in this service directory. So you can reach out to them. It's basically a classified, like remember the Yellow Pages? I'm going to date myself for a minute here. Craigslist, still dating myself. Yelp. I don't know. It's basically like that. It's a directory. I'm old, so it's fine. All right. So basically, it's a directory. You guys find the provider that you want to work with. You reach out to them. There's a contact button on each one of them. You work things out. If it jives, if the price is in your budget and you want to move forward, you two create a private agreement between the two of you. We're not facilitating as a part of it. We're just giving you guys access to one another to know each other exists. If you are interested in becoming a preferred partner, there are criteria required to be that. We are going to do a pilot cohort for a full fiscal quarter. I just want to get things under our belt, get comfortable with how the process works, make sure everybody's comfortable. But you can apply. You can put in information about yourself if you want to be a potential future partner. We will vet you, and there is a graduated process. You first become a registered agency, and then after that, you can graduate into becoming a preferred partner. Really excited that this is something that we're doing to grow out. The best platforms out there like HubSpot and other high-end platforms that help people make money do this. And we wanted to do it for you too. This way you know where to go. So Ron, when you have questions like that, we'll be able to say, hit up heartbeat.chat/partners. That's where you're going to go. So the list will grow. Right now, 5 partners is the initial cohort, and we'll grow from there. We've also this month worked on co-marketing, and the most recent example is the tutorial we did yesterday with Tella.com. Super excited to work with where the preferred partner program is with vendors who provide services. Co-marketing is a efforts that we do with other platforms, softwares, tools, etc., that are natural dovetail fits and have Venn diagram overlap between Heartbeat world and their world, and we work together. So Grant, the co-founder of Tele, did an excellent tutorial, one that before we were even done, people were begging for more, about how to use this screen recorder that edits videos for you to create courses in Heartbeat. Very timely. Again, we're seeing 1,000 courses a month now created. So if you guys have ever felt held back by making video that is compelling or that you think is valuable enough that somebody would actually want to pay for, catch the recording on this. We're going to pop that in the Hearth. We're going to have it out on the YouTube channel, sliced up into pieces. Super valuable stuff, and very excited and grateful that Tele was able to work with us on this. We're going to continue bringing more sessions like that to you as we can. So those are the major initiatives we worked on in the growth team, me and all of my growth team people. Let's head over to the support update.
Cool. I can talk through the support update a little bit. So support is like a big question that we've gotten, or a big topic that we've gotten a lot of questions about. So we have been pretty aggressively upgrading our support on the back end, and also just like making sure that we can like help provide like more people for you to talk to as well. What's really happened over the last 3 months is kind of like as Mike has showed with the numbers, the growth numbers have just skyrocketed. We have twice as many communities signing up each week versus where we were at like 3 months ago. And so we're just making sure that with the huge increase in volume, we're able to continue getting back to you as quickly as possible. And really step 0 of that was making sure we could tune up all of our backend systems so that every support rep is as efficient as possible in being able to see and find issues, make sure that we prioritize and triage them correctly, and then get back to you with responses as quickly as possible. So we've been working on a pretty major like migration to Zendesk for our support tooling. Right now we're on Intercom. Zendesk just allows our support team to have a lot more in terms of just like back office tools, automations, and be able to more effectively track tickets and also track wait times as well too. So we have some big updates to that coming. You're going to see some like light UX changes in terms of like what the support looks like directly inside of Heartbeat. I think what this is going to do is it's going to move this over to a little bit more email-based support just in terms of the interface. But the goal is because we have all of these like optimized backend systems, we should actually be able to get back to you a lot faster than normal. So that's about 90% done. We're doing the rest of the migration over the next week and a half, I'd say. And then the second thing that we've done is significantly improved the AI bot that's responding to questions for you. So Siobhan and Mafalda and the rest of the support team did quite a bit of research and also just quite a bit of training on the actual support bot. And it is a night and day difference in the just quality of responses that we are getting from version 1 versus version 2. And so really excited to have that out. And the big thing is we just want to make sure that, especially for like the small, simple self-service questions, like we can get back to you instantly. We can get you the right response and get you where you need to go as quickly as possible. So this will really help out with that. And then of course the like larger, more complicated issues, we want to make sure to route that to a support rep as quickly as possible so that they can just jump in and start answering those. We also have a new support team member starting on Monday, so very excited to have her aboard. Cool, and that's everything on my end from the support side of things. Mike, you want to talk about community?
Would be happy to. So as I mentioned before, it's kind of a hybrid community marketing motion, but we've been testing doing the live events on Riverside, streaming these out to YouTube and LinkedIn. Just been learning the platform. Obviously, it's beautiful. It's branded. It creates an easier conduit for us to take like high res content versus just the low res Zoom recordings, and bring them out to the world so you guys can continue getting more out of this content after we're done. And it's just nicer to look at when it's 4K. It's crispy. It's a good thing. We did recent events with Nivi about getting volunteer leaders in your community. That was popular because many of us are either solo or very small team entrepreneurs. And so being able to evangelize and activate people in your community to volunteer and work is a important scalable step. That was popular, and that content is recorded and available for you. If you guys aren't subscribed to YouTube, you should check that out because a lot of the shorts, like if you just want quick bites, clips for vertical video, we've got that stuff cranking out now. Also, Lisa Princek did how to future-proof your membership with pricing. Pricing psychology is a very tough thing to get right, but there's some really great structures, very actionable ways to view how to price your community. So again, if you're revisiting pricing or even if you're brand new, that's another recording worth checking out. And Shanna Lynn had 3 retention accelerators. So this is once they buy, how do you keep them around? You work so hard to get them. It's really important to keep people around. So if you can see the theme here, it's how do I scale? How do I make sure I'm creating a sustainable business? How do I make sure the customers that I get don't go away? All of this stuff is baked into the mindset of we want to help you guys succeed. And part of that is just education. So we're going to keep having great content like this for you in the Hearth and coming to you pretty regularly. And then, of course, as a reminder, We do have interest groups in the Hearth. So if you're not part of the Hearth, you should be. It's free. It's great to go there. And there's 3,200, 3,400 other community builders who are there doing exactly what you're trying to do. So because that's so many people, how do you meet your people? Your people are interest groups, right? So if you are interested in marketing, Drew Donaldson facilitates that and has a marketing meetup every Friday, which is kind of like a 90-minute Q&A open working co-work session. Patrick, I think Patrick's in the chat. Yep, yeah, I see Patrick in the chat. Does this courses office hours every other Tuesday. Super helpful if you want to understand like what's the best way to teach something, what's the best way to use the Heartbeat courses modules to do that. That's a great session to show up to. And of course, our very own Misty Dorman does automation support once a month. She's an operational powerhouse. So if you want to use Heartbeat's native automations or even do something super fancy custom with external stuff like Zapier and Make, you can do that and show up with Misty and she'll work through that with you. Awesome stuff in the Hearth. We try to be in there as often as we can. Misty's in there at very least once a week, catching up with everybody. But because there's so many members in there now, you're never alone when you log in. So super awesome to be in there and get the support that you need. All right, future stuff. Future stuff is cool.
Yeah, so in this next section here, we're going to talk about what's coming over the next month. Coming soon means 30 days or less, ideally. So on the product side of things, we have really narrow focus this month on this desktop UI redesign. We've heard from many of y'all through Canny and in the support queues that you could use a little Heartbeat refresh on the design side when it comes to the desktop. And we're taking this opportunity to do a few things. One is make it a little bit easier to navigate on the desktop app between your courses, your threads, and even your channels, and of course all your DMs. So that's one thing. And two, we're going to use this as an opportunity to continue to put your brand and your community themes at the forefront when you're looking at your community space. Whether that means colors or making that logo in the top left a bit larger so that it's not so tiny, giving you an opportunity to add some additional branding, imagery across the platform. These are just a few things that we want to make sure is tuned up a bit in this redesign. So I wanted to take a moment today to show you some preliminary designs. Now I say preliminary because I want to see in the chat your honest and brutal opinions, because this is the future of your community and what it's going to look like. So we want to make sure we get it right, and we're open to feedback right now and would love to hear it. So switching over to our preliminary designs. There we go. Right now, we are flirting with the idea of this sort of design where we have one left sidebar rather than two. And that left sidebar includes all of your links, links to the features within Heartbeat, like courses, resources, events, your directory, the custom sidebar links that you've set for your community. You'll notice at the top there, your logo is much larger and more prominent, and you could replace this gradient color here with an image of your choosing. You have your name that is more prominent, and all of this coloring, the gradient here, the pink on the left, it's pink because we love pink at Heartbeat, and this is the hearth, but it could be whatever color your community themes are. So that will be completely customized based on your community's branding. And then as you scroll on the left sidebar is where you see all of your channel categories and channels. We're thinking about actually moving direct messages from there so they're not as hidden to a more prominent space, such as, such as here on the left sidebar toward the top. So that you click there and then you're seeing all of your direct messages in one place so that they're not hidden at the very, very bottom of your threads list. And on top of that, we are bringing the feed to the desktop. So this is also just another iteration. You can tell me whether you love or hate this right here. I would love feedback there. But what I'm really pointing at here is this feed. We're bringing the feed to the desktop that you know and love on the mobile, so that your members have a one centralized place to aggregate all of the content that they have access to and want to engage with. So this is high level what we're thinking. I have one more thing I'll mention, but I want to check for any questions first.
I was not mute. Sorry. We have questions and things coming in. I'm going to have to renew that, put that back up on the screen for you. Nicole says, I actually love having the active members and events on the right. It says, please keep that. But also love for having the DMs in the new place. So that's really good there.
Cool.
And again, Sandra agrees, yes, please, instead of having to scroll down for messages would be really helpful. And
Amazing.
Heather, yes, with many
Heather,
exclamation
yes.
points. Yes, Heather, yes.
And a stray
so
one.
Any thoughts on like the right side stuff with members that are active, logged in, etc.?
Yeah. So that's something that I'm still playing around with right now. You see nothing there, and I've kind of been playing around with having an entire right sidebar dedicated to active members, or just including it somehow in the top, so it's a little bit less in the way. So you'll notice in this iteration here we have just like the member count next to the directory, but in other iterations we have it completely gone, or in some iterations we have the member list still there, but collapsed, similar to how you experience it in courses. So still playing around with that. I would love feedback on your thoughts, and I'm assuming the consensus from y'all will be like you would like to choose whether you see it or not, because that's typically what I see in a lot of like the canny feedback on our response board.
Yeah, there's continuing to pour in feedback here. Patrick says, looks great. Can we change the names of categories channels?
Yep, same as you can now. So where you're seeing like get help here, or all of these names of these features like resources, courses, events, you'll be able to change those as well.
All right, we got some love for the third design you showed, what that had the top and side menu bars. Just wanted to give that feedback to you.
Cool. I'll come back to that for anybody that is curious.
That's that one. We did have a question here about removing the number of members when you do have them displayed on the side. That's currently a feature, isn't it, Nick?
So it's not yet a feature, and Ron, that is on my list of like feedback in this design process. So it already is in consideration, and I'll do my best to incorporate that in some way.
Yeah. We got some love coming back around for the active members on the right, particularly for social proof to see who's in the community.
Okay.
Cool. Most people are like, as long as we can see it somewhere, that's fine for me. Patrick would love control over that member list. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that. That's a cool idea. And then
keeping the carousel.
had active members on the right is nice. Patrick prefers the top and side. And there is a little love for the carousel that is.
So yeah, I think Patrick, that's a good transition because we love the carousel too. But there's some things I love about it and some things I don't love so much about it. The things I love about it are what it does for you as a community trying to engage your members. It's always showing them what is currently happening, what's trending in the community from a post perspective. It's always telling them about upcoming events. It's telling them about things that they should pay attention to, such as like an upcoming lesson that maybe they, for a course that they might have abandoned. So it's always actively trying to re-engage them in parts of the community that they have previously engaged in. And we want to keep that value of the activity carousel, but maybe incorporate it in a different way. So from the courses feature that we have community embed cards, where you can embed other pieces of your community into a course overview page. And that's sort of how we're thinking about potentially designing the activity carousel moving forward, where you have a little bit more control over what's shown. So you can show upcoming events on that right side there. You can show maybe like a dynamic view of things like trending posts or lessons that they should continue, but just kind of like in a redesigned way. So Patrick, long answer short is, we love it too, but we're just probably going to refactor how it shows up in the community.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think we also have just it's a conversion tool, right? Like Sandra is on the call today because we had that notification that it was there.
Amazing.
So what it does is no arguments. What it does is very impactful for sure. Let's see here. There's a couple comments here. Feedback on the weekly updates, the digest email.
Yeah, Ron, I hear that and I appreciate it. That's something that we're definitely going to look into. Probably not in this project particularly, because we just want to keep the focus and scope on the desktop navigation. But it is something that we have heard feedback on and we'll look into. So if somebody could add that to the bottom of our Notion page, that'd be awesome. All right, y'all. I think with that, I will wrap up on my end, but please, if you have feedback and you're frantically typing a big old paragraph, continue typing, enter it. We will be saving everything in the chat and reading it later. But with that, I will pass it off to what's coming up for growth.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, so we've got a couple of new projects that I'm working on over the next 4 weeks or so. Ron, you had a question. Any plans to help us promote our community? That is a thing that I am working on. So we are looking at creating a community discovery directory. The general gist here is that it's a website listing where we can get communities listed and then understand, like, when people are like browsing to want to look for communities for community builders, communities for whatever, X, Y, Z interest that you have. We'll be able to facilitate a little bit of that discovery. It's a first step. So really excited to just kind of get this thing out there as a pilot and then see where we can grow it from there. Because we know that when we help you guys grow, everybody does better. So that's one of the main motivators here for us on that one. I hope to be able to get some stuff pulled together and then get that shown for you guys soon. Just had some major work as you could see, last month that we were getting cranked out for you. Other things we're working on. This is so life cycle marketing. So this is marketing not just when you want to get a new customer in the door or signed up for your membership. This is marketing when you want to continue, earning value from somebody over the lifetime of them working with you. We do this at Heartbeat, but this is something you can steal. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit, right? Steal my strategies. That's what the idea of me sharing some of these are. So I implemented something of a monthly to annual upgrade for savings, right? So everybody here knows that, if you pay for an annual plan, it's a little bit less than if you paid 12 months in a row. And you know what? If you got something that's working and you've tested it and you're happy with the platform, it behooves you to do that. I did that for myself. I was monthly and then I went to annual as well. So now we have a reminder that, hey, guess what? You can save 17% just by rather than not forgetting and staying on the monthly forever. So I have that as a life cycle activation. It shows that we want you to stick around. It shows that we want you to save money in the long term. And you can use this for your customers. If you have a monthly or annual plan for your memberships, this is a really simple workflow you can set up to say, hey, everybody who's on monthly for 2, 3, 4 months, whatever amount you choose, did you know you could save money going on annual? And there you go. You could do that. And then activation milestones is something else I've been working on this month. So this is marketing based around making sure that people are hitting certain milestones for standing up a Heartbeat community and using the functionality that we know signal future success. So we have a lot of data. We can see of the communities on Heartbeat, we know the ones that are making good money. We're happy for them, but there's also patterns, things that they do that just work that maybe aren't necessarily immediately obvious to everyone, but we know, like, oh, if you don't have Stripe payments set up within like a day, like that's going to hold you back. If you don't have a product created within a certain amount of time, you're less likely to be able to do that. You might get discouraged. Life might happen. You might get delayed and derailed from your goals. These are the sorts of things that we know what the patterns are now. So we're going to put little nudges and education so that you guys make sure you hit those. And so new community builders, all 670, some new of them that come on a month, have more success doing the basics and getting stood up. This is also super helpful for folks that have been here a while, maybe skipped one of those steps along the way just to get a little bit more durable of a community business. So this is just stuff that's kind of boring to talk about the implementation of because it involves a lot of like if, then code logic, et cetera on the back end. Like if Stripe, then email, unless they did the thing. And I think it's cool, but I'm a nerd. So that's cool. That's just what I do. I'm a marketing nerd. So, but I like what the outcome is. The outcome is that you guys are able to actually get the most out of your subscription with Heartbeat and get your businesses growing. So we're working on more of that in the coming month. We're also doing retargeting ads. The goal here is we want to make sure that the right offers get to the right people who have been kind of either kicking tires or holding themselves back or on the fence when it comes to just starting. Many people on this call have started, they've got a free trial, or they've gotten into starting a community and you're climbing the mountain. But there's a lot of people who like just stare at the mountain and never start. And so we've noticed that getting the right messaging and the right information to people at the right time gets people from 0 to 1. And that's like the hardest step, just get started. So we think about retargeting ads, like that creepy thing that used to happen where like that shoe ad would follow you around the internet forever after you looked at one pair of shoes on Amazon. This is really not that. This is more based on your interests, based on things that you've done with our product. and in places that are meant to be natural and not like obtrusive or interruptive in nature, and only when you're ready. So like that's a lot of the work that we've been doing on the growth side too. So that if you're into ads, you can copy that and steal that plan too. Yeah, so that is coming up the next 4 weeks or so. Let's go over to the future of support.
Awesome. And then one thing that I'll just toss out, especially on like the activation milestones end, is we talk about this a lot, like as you're thinking about launching your community, is like, what does a member need to do in their first day when they just joined, in their first 7 days, in their first 30 days? And that's like an incredible way to just think about like how you want to break up those activation milestones. Sometimes like in day one, it's just go comment on a post, go like introduce yourself into the community, go talk to like maybe one other member and have a conversation with them, right? In day 7, maybe it's complete the first 2 modules of this course. In day 30, maybe it's attend an event and finish the full course, right? But I think building out some of that messaging that helps people figure out, hey, this is what I want to get done in day 1, day 7, and day 30 is a really, really like nice and easy plan that is just proven to get you results as you're trying to activate your members in your own community. All right, so switching gears into the support side of things, what we are working on the support angle is we want to make sure that we are building out all the infrastructure to actually have more aggressive hiring ramps over the course of this year. What we're really expecting is, given the growth and given all of the number of new communities that are being started every week, we're expecting to triple the size of our team this year. And so to optimize that, we want to build around batch hiring with the expectation that we're hiring support reps in 2 to 3 person batches. We'll probably do our first one late April, early May, but this is going towards our goal of just making sure that we can continue to really, really beef up the support team and get back to you guys as quickly as possible for all of the questions you have as you're building your business on Heartbeat. The second piece of that is making sure that we can really add to our articles and our knowledge base all the different questions that you have around how do I use Heartbeat, how do I get set up, how do I set up my first payment. We want to make sure that every question that you ask in that help center actually has an article that we can, guide you in the right direction. We have videos, we have written content that can help you out as well too. Helps with just easier self-support, so it takes you fewer days to get started on Heartbeat. And honestly, it really feeds into the AI nicely so that anytime you ask the AI bot questions, we can get back to you with the fastest, most accurate answer and get you on your way and building your community with us. So that's really what we're focusing on the support side of things. Cool, Mike. And yeah, if you want to take it away with the upcoming events.
I got you. All right. So events calendar, we just held the tele.tv, tele.com. They actually apparently changed their domain, and we are currently on the Townhall. But coming up next, we do have rapid growth. Let me come into the actual link so I can give you a little bit more preview on this one. Yeah. So this is how to rapidly grow your communities with conversion quizzes. So this is one of our preferred partners is joining us. This is Alefia of the Nomad Agency. What she's going to be doing is talking about how quizzes can be used to increase conversion as a not just lead gen magnet, but also potentially part of life cycle marketing as well. I'm super excited to see this because quizzes are very accessible, and they've been tested with some of the largest creators out there, like Leah Turner, Nasheen Chen. There's been like a really great success rate with some of the largest creators out there. So that one's coming up on March 26th. Worth an RSVP too. I'll be co-hosting that one, but I'll be learning because that's where we're bringing the expert in for that one. And then up next, we also are going to be looking at having the psychology of funnel building. So this is another one of our preferred partners. The Way How is an agency that specializes in HubSpot, which is a CRM that lets you do emailing and ad targeting and a lot of variety of other lifecycle stuff. But rather than teaching you HubSpot, this is about how do you understand, like, what is the buyer psychology of a funnel? What does it need to do to help activate members so they feel like the information, the content, the offers that they're getting at the time they're getting them, move them effortlessly and frictionlessly towards the outcome of them being a member for your community. So that one's going to be really exciting. That's coming up April 2nd. Yeah, so, and of course, as you can see here, we have a number of communities all the way out. We have a regular old tutorial of Community 2.0, creating a strategic framework for 2025, and that's by Laura Zug. So extremely proud and grateful to be having some of these large names and very, very deeply experienced experts coming out to us. Just coming up, as you can see, we're basically having anywhere from 2 to 4 events for the next couple of months, and they're just going to keep on coming. So check out the Hearth, get in the RSVPs. That's how you make sure you get all the notifications for those.
Cool. And with that, we are at our final stage of just asking you guys, like, what do you want to see next? Like, what are the things that we don't have our eye on just yet that you want to make sure that we are taking a look at, that we're focusing on? So a bunch of questions have been dropped in that, Mike and Nick and Mehul have been nicely aggregating at the bottom of the Notion doc that we're using internally. So I'm going to run through those, but feel free to keep dropping them in the Zoom chat as we're talking. We're going to pull as many as we can before we hit the top of the hour. So we had a question coming in from Terika, which was, is there a way to assign a moderator to one group only? I don't need to have them have access to everything. Yeah, this is a really great question. The short answer is we don't have a way to do this just yet, but it is something that we're starting to focus on a little bit more as we think about what does role-based access look like across the community, and how can you build up different leaders in the community that can own and manage entire spaces without giving them the full keys to the kingdom where they can do whatever they want to. So my short answer, Terika, is we don't have this just yet, but it's definitely something that we're taking a look at and we're aiming to build around. I don't have like a specific timeline, but I would say we can start taking a look at this probably like sometime in the next year or so, because we're getting so many people asking about this, so definitely something that's on our mind.
So I just popped that one down to the bottom here so we didn't lose it, part of the request. But these are just some things that have come up in the chat that I wanted to make sure we could saw ideas people have floated for us.
Absolutely. So one was ping when someone submits any assignment. Nick, Mehul, have we thought about this with the assignment submission flow of just having an auto notification whenever we get some assignment submissions?
Yeah, so it is something that we built out for the assignment approval specifically, and so I think it's definitely something that we can look into to making it available more generally for other kinds of assignments as well.
Cool. Awesome. So next one is, I love having the active members and events on the right. Please keep that on desktop. Definitely, we'll take a look, and especially this feedback has been really helpful, by the way, especially on the desktop UI stuff. It's one of those things where, right, UI and just the full experience, it's as much an art as it is a science, and so it is really helpful to have you guys commenting on it and giving some feedback there. So we definitely take all of that feedback to heart. Formatting of the weekly updates could use some love. Yes, 100% heard. We will take a look at that. The next one was, any plans to enable a user to share a heartbeat post on social media? This is a very interesting question. The short answer is yes, this is something that we're looking into. So one of the larger projects that we want to dig into over the course of this year is, what does taking a community and taking pieces of it and making it public look like? So whether it's individual posts or certain channels or entire events pages or content sections within your library, taking those and turning those not only just public, but SEO indexable so that other people can actually find them, come to them, and that can serve as a lead magnet for your community. I think one of the biggest advantages that communities have is just all the conversations that happen back and forth between your members are just absolute gold. And, we've got a community that is focuses on local business owners in St. Louis. And that community, the conversations that are happening back and forth between those business owners is going to be more valuable and more thoughtful than any article HubSpot could ever put out, right? And we want to make sure that you as a community owner can benefit off of curating and bringing together these people, turn that into a way you grow your community. So we are looking and testing out what does this look like. The flip side of this is we also need to make sure that as we're doing this, we are protecting and respecting user privacy. We're making sure that we can anonymize stuff when necessary, and we can make sure that we're properly communicating to users when the things that they write are actually going to be out in the public rather than just in this private community. So the short answer, I think this question came from Ron, but the short answer is, yes, we are looking very deeply into it. It is on the roadmap for this year. It is something that we are actively looking to tackle. There are just a lot of questions around, what does privacy look like? How do you selectively turn on and off different pieces of your community and choose what to allow and what to not allow in terms of just public syndication. So that's what we're grappling with and playing around with. Cool. Sweet. So yes, we do have public event pages already, actually. Now the biggest thing is we just need to make sure that you can actually have the full roster of events publicly available. And what I would love to build, and this is me giving Mehul a little bit of heartburn, is if we can eventually even get that to embed on a website too. So on your landing page, you can just have all of your public events nicely embedded there, and you can pull people into your content funnel pretty early on. So a lot of different stuff that we're thinking about over here. Sorting access groups better. Challenges was the next one. Yeah, this is great. Honestly, we see challenges heavily used through the courses module. What I would love is just understanding like what are the differences between a challenge and a course, and like just functionally, right? Like what are the specific toggles that you want? What are the specific features that you want? Because that'll help guide us and understand like, hey, what deserves to be a challenge versus what deserves to be a course. Sorting access groups better, totally fair. Someone asked, is there any AI built into the matching? No, there is not. So actually the way the matching works, and we have some videos on this if you just go through like our help center, is you set up the rules and then we will automatically, match people based off those rules, but it's fully random past those rules. So you set up, hey, like I want all, in the Hearth, I think we have it set up that all existing community builders talk to other existing community builders, new community builders talk to other new community builders, right? So once those requirements are suffice, internally within that, it's totally random, and we just want to match up people, as much as we can to be able to like create more conversation, more activity in your community. Cool. Would love to see updates to voice rooms. Yes, me too. Definitely something that we want to do and we're looking at. I know we're right on time, so I'm making sure to be conscious of that. Updates to anonymity and pseudonymity. Candidly, we are holding off on this right now. I think there are some areas in the community where we might add in, the ability to have like a fully anonymous channel so you can ask more, vulnerable questions and things like that. But the short answer is fully anonymous communities tend to just skyrocket in terms of the number of like abuse and moderation problems that you run into. And we want to make sure that while we are creating, communities that properly fit the needs of our customers, we want to make sure we're also not going to cause problems for you in terms of moderation, creating like a safe environment to bring in your customers and bring in your members and actually like foster that community. Fixing recurring events. Yes, this is also like on the docket in terms of, what we want to do is we make some bigger event fixes coming pretty soon. And then can we switch the medium notification for a new event to be a DM instead of an email? Our community hates emails but aren't being notified if it is not on. We'll take a look at this. This one's an interesting one. We do have a larger project planned around like how we want to build and improve events. And so like we'll just make sure to take a look as we do that. With that, I think we have hit all the questions. If there's anything else, feel free to either one, send it into our support team or drop it on like the feedback.heartbeat.chat page. We do actually look at that very regularly, both to just like see what are the new things coming in, but especially when we look at a larger project around, let's say, events or payments or, like content, like landing pages, right? We're going to look at all of the stuff that's submitted around there so that we can build a fully cohesive solution. So that is one of the best places that you can drop it. Cool. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Oh, Al, I saw your note. I run a million member community with zero abuse because moderation works really well. Pseudo anonymity at the very least. Super helpful. I might follow up just so we can learn a little bit more about like how that works because I think I've just seen the opposite side of that. But I'm very, very curious is the short answer. Thank you guys so much for joining on live. Thank you for sharing all of the feedback and being so generous with it. Like, again, like this is how we grow. And this is hands down one of the most like valuable calls that like I jump on every month. Just because like this is where we get to learn, are we moving in the right direction and how do we continue building a better and better product for you guys? So huge thank you from my end for joining on live, for sharing the feedback and just being as candid and direct as possible. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.